we have today is an update on the U.S. air drone strike in Kabul on August 29th. The strike, of course, we now know killed 10 civilians, including 7 children, and it doesn't seem like anybody involved in the strike had anything to do with ISIS, and potentially this was a huge mistake on the part of the Pentagon. We're now getting some new details reported through the New York Times about this that do seem to indicate that this was a huge mistake on the part of the Pentagon, and again, a pile of dead children now. So what they say happened is the drone footage witnessed a car pull into a ISIS what the Pentagon believed was a ISIS safe house. The car was driven. This is identified by people on the ground, not the Pentagon, by Zamari Admiri, and Admiri, again pulls his car into this place the U.S. says ISIS hideout. They say they witness on their drone footage 3 men carry what they say are heavy packages. I guess 3 packages carried by men. It didn't say exactly how many were carried into the car. They say they could tell the packages were heavy by the way that they were carried. I don't exactly know what that means. This is what again is being reported from the Pentagon. And then they say that the preliminary analysis was that it was possible to probable that there were explosives in the vehicle. Not sure what changes that, but as he drives, through Kabul, I guess he's surveilled and pulls into what the U.S. calls an unknown compound, which is really just his family home. I guess once he pulls the car into the courtyard, a lot of the children, as well as I believe maybe his brother, come out to meet him, and that's when the drone the drone is fired. The U.S. says that it was fired when they only witnessed one person, but then other people entered the area, and that's what caused them to die. They're also pushing this narrative of a secondary explosion, basically trying to vaguely imply that this person was a terrorist and it wasn't the American bomb that killed these kids, but rather his terrorist bomb. We just killed the terrorists, our bombs only do good. It was really setting off his bomb, which shouldn't have been there, that killed the children. There's absolutely no proof of that, and yet it's being amplified and often talked about as the potential true story in the mainstream media right now. So I think that's most of the details that I have on this story from the Pentagon. I guess a couple things to add is that, again, this is from Afghan sources. The neighbors say that this Admiri was not ISIS-K, and he actually worked for a California-based charity. This is like one of the NGO workers that a couple weeks ago the media was saying it needs to prioritize these Afghans getting out of the country, and now he's been killed by a U.S. bomb. Likewise, I believe his brother, but an adult male relative, is reported to have been a member of the Afghan National Armed Forces in some capacity. It wasn't exactly clear to me if that was just like a policeman, a natural soldier, or what. But again, these are people that the U.S. Up to a couple weeks ago was talking about prioritizing getting out of the country, and after one of their U.S. drone strikes killed them, there's not a whole lot of care for their lives then. Of course, if these people were, say, killed by the Taliban, like this guy, his brother, and his children were slaughtered by the Taliban, that would probably be front page news and talked about as how we have to re-intervene in Afghanistan to prevent atrocities like this. I think that's again, most of the details I have. I don't think it's hard to judge, especially seeing the results now. From the hindsight perspective, that was obviously wrong to hit the button. But I think from the information that even the Pentagon is giving us at this point, saying that they thought it was an ISIS location, they thought they loaded heavy packages. Well, I guess they they know they loaded something in the car. They thought it was bombs, and that gave them justification to carry out this drone strike, is the same exact bad, flawed logic and intelligence the U.S. has been using to murder innocent Afghans for years and chalk their deaths up as, killing members of the insurgency, which in this case is even happening somewhat where you have the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Mark Milley, calling this strike righteous, and the White House spokesperson, and this has been backed up by the White House overall, calling the strike successful. And so even though there's no evidence of it, they're just going to go ahead and chalk this up as we prevented a terrorist attack. And this is essentially, the flawed logic that has let the U.S. murder Afghans to the, hundreds of thousands for the past 20 years, and declare ourselves, the morally correct people and the people who could help Afghanistan to improve. It's just so clearly not the case.